Good morning, gardening friends. Today is July 20th. It's a beautifully sunny day outside. It's 85 already and it's only 9:15. We've had lots of rain as usual. We're still in that period where we're getting rain every day. Today it's supposed to maybe slack off a little bit and we might skip some showers, but it's supposed to be, at least with heat indexes, in like 105 to 110 range. So it's hot. It's hot here in Mobile, Alabama, but that's normal for the summer. So I spent some time this week doing work inside, cleaned up some of my caladiums. My caladiums are coming up that I've planted in pots. And what that allows me to do, these, by the way, are Kathleen, and they're fixing to bloom. You can see the little bloom stalks there. By next week, they should be open. Kathleen has a fragrance, so that's why I definitely brought those in. But I have 4 of these pots with caladiums in them, each with different caladiums. That one seems to like its life here in the front porch. This one, not so much. It's a little more in shade, so what I'll do is I'll cycle the other pots around and put them in here so that I can enjoy them when they're doing things like blooming. Of course, all my potted things are doing well. I have to cut the pothos down again. It's gotten too long. This bird's nest fern has really liked its life. It's in a little dinky pot, which I even raised on a little stand to get it up off the ground more, but I would say it is easily about 4 foot tall. And of course, my ZZ plant is doing well. I did cut back my begonia and my apicia yesterday. They had both gotten really tall and scraggly, so I went ahead and trimmed them back and also put both of my orchids, the phalaenopsis, up there. That's my water bottle popping. They're doing well. This is the first time I've had in a long time a phalaenopsis bloom for me from a stalk that was not there when I bought it. These particular phalaenopsis seem to like being close to a light fixture. So I've had them in my den near the light and the lamp that's in the den. In fact, I'll show you. I have another one on the way. When I find something that works, I stick with it. Hopefully the house is cleaned. I hadn't cleaned the house yet. Straightened it up for getting up, but this is where I put the orchid, and I leave this lamp on day and night, so it gets plenty of light there. And I just got this orchid. This is a beautiful one with 4 stems on it. It wouldn't have been my first choice of colors because it's kind of a muddy color, but it's a pretty plant and it had all of those stems. I figured it was definitely worth it. So it lives there until the flowers start to fall off, and when they start falling off, then I'll bring it here to the front porch. And having brought the one on the left-hand side here, it, like I say, it sent up another stalk and it has a flower, so it likes its life. What I do is I take them out of the pots once a week and run water over the roots, and then stick them after they've dripped quite well out. Then I'll go ahead and pop them back in their pot. Of course, this plant is still doing really well. Everything in here is doing fine. Let's go out for a walk before it gets too hot. Agaves are doing well. There's a little baby that I can rescue and pot up somewhere else. Whew, you can feel the sun. Crepe myrtle is looking good. Finally, the rains have ceased for a little while and the flowers are sticking straight up again. Let's start over in this area. Of course, the bananas still doing well. Ligustrum needs a little bit of a trim. The fig has definitely grown. It is now over my head. This one tall stem is probably about 7 to 8 feet tall. I don't see any figs on it, but it has definitely come back from being topped off earlier this spring. Here everything is looking really good. The colors really seem to go together over here with my autumn carnation starting to bloom, and of course all of the caladiums. Caladiums aren't being attacked. I noticed in the backyard something is eating my caladiums. I don't normally plant them back there. But everything is looking nice and lush and green. Really, this time of the year, all I really have to do now is keep the weeds at bay. Camellias are growing. I see that camellia needs a little top off at the top. I don't see any, oh, I do see an open blossom way on the top of the magnolia. Little gem magnolia, not so little. My cassia is doing fine, even though it has some weeds around it. And you can see that smaller crepe myrtle is blooming. All here looks well. Let's see how they, ooh, there's a mole in the front yard. I just sunk in the grass. See how these caladiums are doing. They're coming up where I planted them a couple of weeks ago. And the ones just planted a little over a week ago are coming up in the front here. At least they're starting to. You can see one over here. I'm done planting for the year, needless to say. It's too hot to do much of anything else. The grass does need cutting, but last week, the day that it was supposed to be cut, the rains came. You can see those caladiums have done well and are blooming. Here's one of the blossoms. They were mistaken as arums when they were first discovered, and now you can see why, because they do kind of look like an arum. Here's a close-up of the flower. My raspberries are coming back that I cut back. You can see there and there that they're sprouting. I wasn't certain that they would come back because I did cut them back rather late in the season, but they are, and there are some spots here where it's fairly empty. I did go ahead and seed in some green beans. Same on this side where there were a few empty spots. I seeded some green beans. There you can see the blackberries are doing much better in the sun in terms of sprouting. I'm going to let those stalks just grow now, the canes. Of course, my okra is doing fine. No activity yet in terms of leaves from this female cycad. I'm going to let these little things grow up the stem until she sets leaves on the top, because I kind of feel bad that I've taken all the leaves off and it can't get any nourishment. So at least it'll take in nourishment from the plants going up the sides. I definitely need to get at this camellia this week. The Australian tree fern is now over 6 foot tall. This cane or crozier is my eye level, and I'm 6 feet, so it is doing well. Mandevilla, doing fine. Datura has definitely taken off. And my herbs are still doing fine up front here. This herb that's all over the sidewalk edge is all over the place. It's all the way from here up to there. It is Can't think of the name of it right now. It's on the tip of my tongue. It's an Italian herb. I can smell it. Oregano. Here the jasmines are taking off. Some of these caladiums are coming up. I don't hold a lot of hope, but although I do see stems coming up, they were planted basically in rock. Underneath this sidewalk was landscape cloth and stones. Yeah, it is coming up. I see them here and there. Over here, all is well. Let's see what's going on in the backyard. Pink angel, or the peach angel's trumpet, doing well. Here you can see the white crepe myrtle is bowed down with all of the heaviness of the flowers. I may come here and trim some of those flowers off so that it pops back up again. Here's where I noticed some of the caladiums were being eaten, the ones that I planted in here. Specifically, that one down there, I think it is probably slugs more than likely. And I planted some on this side as well. Yeah, here you can really see, I guess it must be slugs. But once when they get to a leaf, they really get to a leaf. Here, not much has changed. Oh, I see a butterfly ginger. A ginger lily. Ooh, the fragrance is wonderful. And my bougainvillea is starting to bloom. Here all is well. I did straighten up some of my herbs today, or this week, in this herb bed. This particular one, the kittens had flattened. And now that I'm down to 2 kittens, they're older, so they're not as full of mischief. Things are living. Bougainvillea is starting to bloom again. Here was, ta-da, the major difference. You may recall last week there was a big dead camellia, the size of the camellia here in the corner, and I just decided to cut it down. If it sprouts back from the roots, so be it. I don't think it will, because when I cut it, it was dead pretty much all the way to the ground. Why it died, I don't know. That means this whole area is going to have to be rethought. But for now, I'm just going to let it do its own thing. The reason it has to be rethought potentially is those ferns, even though the camellia was dead, it was casting shade. So I don't know if these ferns are going to have enough shade to live. I know the aspidistras are going to burn, but it's going to be what it's going to be. On the other hand, this front palm here is a Serenoan repens, which was a seed, not a seedling, but a branch from the big one over there. So now it has an opportunity to grow, and it's actually almost in the right spot. That I don't think I'm going to plant another camellia there. I'll just let the Serenoan repens get bigger. I was cutting it back because of the camellia, but now I don't have to do that anymore. I'll just let a palm grow there. You can also get a close-up of my, what is that? The satsuma tree. It is growing. I did cut another dead branch off of it, but it's not doing exceptionally well. It's from the cold from last winter. So this place, it's different, but it looks okay. I can now see the statue of Venus here at night, which I couldn't see before. Oh, another flower. Crinum lily is in bloom again. This one doesn't have the scent like the one in the front does. Back in here, all is well. I did cut down the bananas again, 2 bananas that were in front of this crepe myrtle. water looks exceptionally clear today. Fruits are ripening again. The second crop up there, and those as well. This has put out a bunch of fruit, this jelly palm or pinto palm this year. They have a very citrusy smell. You can see another cluster way up in there coming. Ooh, I even beat the mosquitoes out so far. I don't want to say that too loudly, I'll wake them up. This coleus is now waist high. It's doing really well. Pretty much everything is in here as long as you can keep it weeded and watered. Watering not so much a big deal right now because of the daily rains. However, one thing to keep in mind, which caught me last week, was the potted plants. Even though it rains a little every day, it may not rain enough to actually water the pots thoroughly. So you do need to keep an eye on your potted plants when it rains outside. I bought some more of this ginger, variegated ginger, to plant in there, except it was too much of a job for me to do, so I'll wait and get that done on Thursday. I forgot that this one had grown into my monkey grass, and that means it's going to be exceptionally hard to dig out. Best to pay someone to do that. My roses are doing well. Knockout roses, there's a rose hip. The yellow knockout rose does have rose hips. I've told you about that in the past. It's also one of the few roses, knockout roses, with a fragrance. The kumquat is a lot more visible now, so I pruned it up a little, as is my plum. Those caladiums have sprouted nicely and have been left alone by the bugs. Here's the other knockout rose that I have. I spent some time this week searching botanical citations, because I didn't realize, until it's amazing what you can find when you start digging into stuff, roses are part of the Rosaceae family. Well, come to find out, so are plums, peaches, apples, pears, blackberries, raspberries, strawberries. They're all part of the rose family. Basically because the flowers all have 5 petals. There are other reasons, but that's the main reason. So I hadn't realized before that most of the fruits that we eat are from the Rosaceae family. Gosh, this angel's trumpet has gotten huge. Can barely get around it. Caladiums are coming up in here that I planted. Pretty much they all did. Some more autumn carnation are blooming. Ooh, it looks like, I don't want to jinx it, but it looks like that Chamaecyparis is sending up some sprouts. So maybe this one, maybe the 5th one is going to be, or it's the 4th one. The 4th one is going to be the trick. Maybe that one will live. That one's been here all along. I do see I have a few weeds here and there. All gardens are going to have some weeds. The one good thing about this time of the year is they grow relatively quickly. So when they get big enough, they're a lot easier to pull out. Here you can see these caladiums have come out of the ground and are starting to get in bloom. I see they sent up some bloom stalks. My cassia is still blooming. I'll tell you one tree that has gotten really big this year is my pecan. It's being overwhelmed a little and forced out into the open more. I have to be careful where I'm walking. I'm getting tangled up in vine. But it is up overhead. It's kind of being pushed to the front, but it doesn't look like any serious damage. But it is actually becoming a tree. Blueberries are doing fine. Blueberries are not part of the rose family, nor are figs. Believe it or not, figs are part of the mulberry family. Another interesting fact, use it as you will. Blueberries are actual berries, which sounds silly when you say it, but botanically speaking, a berry is a fruit that forms from a single ovary. So blueberries are berries, real berries in botanical sense. Cranberries are berries. Believe it or not, bananas are berries as well in the botanical sense. Raspberries, strawberries, blackberries are not berries. They're actually called aggregate cluster fruits because they come from multiple ovaries. Little tidbit, use it as you will. You may be on Jeopardy someday. So bananas are a berry and strawberries are not. Banana trees look huge over there. I think this crinum may be the plant of the week. I'll come back and take a picture of it. I haven't done any work inside the garage. That's what I plan on doing this week. And I see I have one pear way up the tree. The pear trees don't look the best this year because of all the rains, but they're still, oh, I have 2 pears, 3 pears. I'll get you a close-up. These are kefir pears. Hopefully you can see them. One right about here, one up there. Can't see where I'm pointing when I look through the camera. Again, pears part of the rose family. These caladiums are coming up in these square pots. I had planted the coxcombs there, but the rains didn't do much for them. Here's where I brought one of the caladiums out from the front porch. You can see it was reaching towards the sunlight. Since I have enough of these in pots, I thought I would just cycle them around, like I said before, in the front porch. The marigolds are looking like marigolds again, since the kittens have stopped crushing down on them. I actually will probably be able to remove these cylinders now that I only have 2 kittens. They're playful, but they're playful with each other, and they're not quite as destructive. These potted caladiums are looking fantastic. They're both the same. Don't remember what they are. And it looks like I have killed the eucalyptus. It got really dry. I think eucalyptus, I don't know if I'm watering it too much or it did not get enough rain. Sometimes they have the same symptoms. But it doesn't look really good, but it was a test. I never grew one before. And you can see another blossom on my desert rose. My chives are still doing well in pots. I can't grow chives here in a zone 9A. I've tried putting them in the ground and they do not grow. They just die. So I put those in a pot. Up north, when I had my garden in New York State, I used chives as a border grass. They grew so well. So I put them around my vegetable area, like I have monkey grass down here. I'm getting a second flush of pitchers on this pitcher plant. You can see the little ones after the kittens chewed on them. They left my Sarracenia alone, and this one is getting a new batch of pitchers as well. And the crepe myrtle is huge, huge flowers. So much so, like I say, they're bending way over. What I'll probably do is cut some of them, some of the branches with 2 or 3. If you cut the biggest one off, then they'll snap back up again. But I'm not going to be doing too much work outside. except early in the morning. This is the time of the year you kind of have to get out either early or late. From here, you can see the pecan tree is filling that gap quite nicely for separating me from the street. Of course, it is deciduous. Years ago, I had a loquat there. Oh, loquats, by the way, are also members of the rose family. Now that I've bored you with members of the rose family, here's the ginger lily that I got from Lowe's. That big thing was only $10. So I thought that was a steal and bought one. That'll be planted next week. These bromeliads that I split, the one inside is still doing well. And these are doing well. Well, they're not dying. I assume with the bromeliad, as long as it doesn't turn yellow or shrivel up, it's living and it's doing fine. These pictures are doing fine. This is an Nepenthes. This is an Asian pitcher plant, versus the Sarracenias are more American, depending on which particular one you have. But there you have it for today. I see I have an errant rose coming up next to the pot. It's in there somewhere. I'll have to nip that in the bud. It came back from the roots. It was a rose garden last year, and I got rid of the roses. But there you have it for today. I'll leave you with the open view of Venus through here. Of course, this palm will eventually get taller. It was taller this spring, and I cut some of the branches down, and that'll screen the view of Venus from here. So whenever you lose a plant, don't lose hope. You never know what's going to happen. It may look better. I can't say as if it looks better, but it looks okay. We'll roll with the punches and see what happens. So till next week, stay cool, stay hydrated, hopefully get out in your gardens, at least enjoy them from your windows. Take care. Have a good week.